What's going on if you are in a situation where you have been abused, whether emotionally or physically abused, and one of your family members has legal status? Watch all the way to the end of the show. So, friends, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting, and helping you solve your immigration problem all across the world and across all 50 states of America, and maybe even prevent your problem from happening in the first place. So if you're just tuning in for the first time ever, welcome. And we do offer free 15-minute preliminary discussion, maybe just point you in the right direction. We have these calls from time to time, pretty much every day actually. And for example, a call today won't go into specific detail, of course, because all calls are confidential. But more or less, the person's petition, this is the first step, um, is around a little over the 12-month mark, but the processing time schedule says 15 months. Not that you necessarily have to wait for a processing time, but 15 months these days seems reasonable. So at this point, you might as well, in this situation, maybe wait 3 more months before filing a lawsuit. So that's a situation where you don't have to pay us a consult fee for a quick question like that, quick answer. You just want to verify. We completely get it. So we do offer, again, free 15-minute preliminary discussion for something like that. If you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to drop it in, type it down below on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. I will try my best to respond to that right after I answer this topic of the day. So, can I get a green card if I was abused? Now, here's what I'm going to show you on our screen. The answer is yes. Now, if it depends on several things, though, okay, the legal requirements. And the first thing is, you might say, oh, well, my family member did. My face seems a little shiny on the phone for some reason, not on YouTube. But you might say, well, my family member did abuse me, but they don't have legal status. Then you would have to be something called U visa, because U visa does not require that the perpetrator or abuser has legal status. However, you do need to make sure that you file a police report. Okay, you call the police 911 to report the crime. All right, if you're shy about it and you don't call the police, it is still possible to be eligible to apply for U visa, but it does make it more difficult. And I know if it's a family member, it might seem a little strange to call the police on your family member. We actually have some clients that do that. So it really depends on a situation. Your family situation might be a little bit different than others. So, of course, I hope everyone's has a tight-knit family and close to each other, but sometimes you grow out of that lovey-dovey situation, and just sometimes things turn for the worse, unfortunately, especially now that we're, I guess you could say, post-pandemic. But but going back to abuse, and specific to what we call VAWA, Violence Against Women Act. It's actually a law that was created by President Joe Biden, along with, of course, many other co-sponsors. So that was many years ago. I think 1994, if my history is correct. But let me share my screen, okay? I can share it on YouTube and Facebook. There we go. Okay. Let's see. All right, so I'm sharing here. Thanks for all your questions. You're welcome to drop it in the comment section, and I will get to it soon. All right, so on this screen, let me make it a little bit wider, but you can still see it, hopefully. Okay, I'm on the USCIS webpage. All right, this is a green card for VAWA self-petitioner. All right, so this is if it happened in America. Now, you could be abroad right now, outside America. You left for whatever reason, any reason, no reason at all, but the incident happened in America, then you can still go through this process, okay? Apply for this. Now, let's see here. Okay, so you may be eligible. It says here, you may be eligible to become a lawful permanent resident, aka green card It's not actually green anymore, by the way. But if you are a victim of battery or extreme cruelty committed by a U.S. citizen, spouse, or former spouse, meaning you got divorced, or at least you started the process for divorce, your parent who is a U.S. citizen, it also includes your son or daughter who is a U.S. citizen, or your spouse who's a permanent resident, or former spouse who's a permanent resident, or a parent who's a resident. So it's actually pretty expansive. I know that's you might not think that to be the case for someone who's you may have been abused. Most people think of VAWA meaning only your spouse, and some people even think even further than that it's only for a spouse who's a citizen. But actually, it could be someone who has resident status. And these days, I think it's more discussed in a sense because of the pandemic. Pandemic has affected a lot of people for sure, whether it's in the U.S. or outside America. But I definitely have been hearing more stories specifically about children. So I know it's strange, but in VAWA does not require that you call the police because it doesn't require a certification form like, for example, U visa. U visa requires the law enforcement agency, whether it's like the sheriff, police department, to sign off on this other form called certification 91AB. Okay, you cannot just ask any police officer, for example, has to be someone who is certified, authorized by USCIS to do this. Okay, and it's usually like maybe one or two people per department. It would be great if it was multiple people because sometimes they're, depending on the office, they're a little slow. But I have a lot of hot tips about that. But back to the pandemic situation, I've heard many stories, unfortunately, that the child, son or daughter, and they're born here, they have status, U.S. citizen, and they're abusing the parent. Okay, and it actually, believe it or not, it's not just emotional abuse. Okay, it's not just a lot of berating. I've heard more than that, like that, physical abuse. So if you're in one of those situations and you don't have legal status, I'm not trying to say here like, oh, if it's kind of like borderline, then for you to take advantage of this, because the benefit is for if you were to apply for VAWA, is that you don't have to leave the U.S. for the green card. You can stay in America, believe it or not. Okay, and especially if you have a removal case, meaning immigration court, and you have it active. It's possible, or not even active, maybe you have order removal, possibly, depending on the Supreme Court case coming out in next month. Hopefully mid-June, we'll find out more. But if you have an active case, possibly you could get that dismissed. So I know most people are shy to talk about it. Actually, I'm shy to share tips like this because there's a lot more lawyers talking about VAWA in general, just because, of course, simply you don't have to leave the U.S., and, some attorneys' approach in sharing this information is a little skeptical, but, we want to share disclosures that, number one, it has to be the truth. You can't, it should be obvious, but I just want to put it out there. It has to be the truth, because if for some reason USCIS officer and especially a judge believe you're lying, then they will write that, especially if a USCIS officer finds that out, they'll write that in your denial letter, and that denial letter will most likely be referred to, if your case is referred to immigration court, then the judge and the Department of Homeland Security attorney will have a copy of it. Okay, so you don't want to play games here. You want to tell the truth, whether it's for VAWA or any other application. You want to tell the truth. So even if you heard of someone else, we'll go around it and not tell the truth. Don't follow their footsteps, please. And especially if it's a fake marriage and you think you can wiggle around it, you can get a lease in the same name or whatever the case, or you agree to file taxes together, but somehow USCIS does a site visit because they have pretty good data. Are they a bit discriminatory? I think so, but oops. But yeah, anyway, hopefully that gives you an idea. You just need to be careful, okay? Please. Um, let's see here. I think someone's at my door. Let me see. But all right, let me see if I can answer some questions now. Oops. AB Samuel. So I can share a lot more on tips like this, but AB Samuel. Your question is vaccine still a requirement before entering the USA? Yes, it is. Okay. You are required to do that. Okay. So hopefully you're open to it. Sounds like you might not be open to it. I know some people who are outside America are open to it in general, but maybe you don't want to get the shot that's available in your country. So I definitely understand that part. But for as of now, it's still required. Okay, before entering America, they haven't waived that. Okay, unfortunately. Zamali Z, if you're still on, you still need to do my thing. Okay. Well, hopefully we can help you if you contact us. And folks, I'm just going to apologize in advance if for some reason you've contacted us, but we've just been a little bit slow to contact you back. We really try our best to contact you within 24 hours if it's a weekday. Sometimes we have a team member available on Saturday in the morning to get back to you, but we just have a lot of inquiries, and we can't accept every case. We try our best. Sometimes we may have to refer your case to another lawyer who may focus on a specific situation like asylum. Um, but we're very, very specific on what type of cases we accept and also in understanding our capacity. If we're capped out, we're going to let you know. All right. And refer you to someone else. Actually, a lot of immigration lawyers do this, law firms do this, just because we're very cognizant of capacity. So that kind of give you an idea, because especially if it's a case where you need action like tomorrow or yesterday, then with like a deadline coming up, in some scenarios we can help out with that, like if it's a notice of intent to deny or a request for evidence. But like if your deadline is tomorrow, we're not going to be able to help you. So if you're in that situation, folks, please, please don't wait. Okay. You want to contact an attorney, even if you think you might not even hire one, but you just want a little bit more advice. Hopefully, you can consult with one so to make sure you can do the best case result for your best response for yourself. Because a quick story here, success story for at least for us, is that we had a client or new client come to us a couple of years ago. They had 751 removed conditions, denied twice. And I think in one of the cases they had a lawyer. Second one, they may have done it, or one of them they did it themselves. Maybe you could say third time's a charm, but third time or in this situation it was a second marriage with us, and we filed it and we got approved. Okay, now for us it took a lot of intentional preparation time. Okay, spending at least an hour before, when the interview was scheduled, to make sure a client is ready to answer any possible questions. Now, you might ask me, John, are you going to share every single question that USCIS officer could ask? Now, we have a list of 100 questions. Now, fortunately, in this recent interview, they asked a few. So it was great. But I always think of, what if the USCIS officer actually asked questions about the prior marriage? Did I prepare the client? At least I can feel comfortable to say I did. And of course, that we prepared very adequately. Okay. But yeah, that's one of the things I learned in law school, the 3 Ps: preparation, preparation, preparation. Okay. So it's a lot for a lot of different services we offer. So again, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks so much for considering our team. Let's see what else I can share with y'all. Looks like no one is at my door. My dog was just a bit excited. Okay. Let's see here. Any questions? Any other questions here? Zmali, if you want to contact us, you're welcome to do that on Instagram. But the best way, folks, is to is to contact us at the number above. Yeah, right up here. Okay, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, that's our number, 720-740-4247. Today's question of the day is, can I get a green card if I was abused? And yes, it's possible. Again, it just depends on your facts of your case, your immigration status, or not your immigration status, but your abuser's immigration status. So, and it might not be VAWA. It could be U visa. The point is that I'm trying to share with you: do not give up. Okay. Some people say like, "Oh, I just forget it. I want to just not think about it. I want to leave America." Don't give up. Okay. Don't give up. All right. If for some reason you're at that point, give us a call. There is no consultation fee unless you're asking for like EB-5 investor visa, or you want us to review your criminal history. That takes a lot more time. So as you can imagine, but if we're answering, kind of point you in the right direction, that's what we love. It'll be our pleasure to do that for you. Okay, folks. So if you enjoyed the content that we share with you, the information, free information at no cost to you on this show, if you don't mind, go to reviewtinglaw.com, and we greatly appreciate your feedback. Okay. And if you're asking for maybe a topic, you want us to cover another topic, another type of legal question, we're happy to go through that and set that up for you. So we do actually field those suggestions. Okay. Thank you so much. And I wish you the best rest of the week. Okay. Take care now.